Coming up tonight, I'll be taking to the track to test Renault's Magnum. Eve visits the truck stop and Brian will be showing us his used van tip of the week. Now we all know we have some bad weather in Britain. Rainy, windy, and most of the time it gets pretty cold. But even we can't match the conditions here. No, here in the Ice Hotel in Kiruna in northern Sweden, things are a little bit more bleak. Now we're talking of temperatures as low as -25 and snow as deep as I am told. So here we are with Renault, cold weather testing in the Arctic Circle. So at the moment, Renault are actually measuring cold start and vehicle and engine performance. The vehicles on test are specially prepared to monitor individual characteristics of the vehicle's performance. They test everything from engine oil, fuel temperature at various stages from the tank right to after combustion. Also tested are all the electronics such as batteries, alternators and starter motors. Lots of changes in conditions between the UK and certainly driving in the Arctic Circle. A couple of things immediately. This vehicle is left-hand drive, so one thing changes straight away. Secondly, when we look at the roads themselves, when you're getting -5 to -35, you're noticing the fact that the roads have always got packed ice underneath them. So you never feel, whilst you feel safe and there's no problem at all with it, you always know that there is a potential danger. So you're always reliant on thinking ahead very, very much. In truck driving, we always have to think ahead anyway, certainly a lot more than maybe on a car. But when you're driving in these conditions, you have to think probably at least a third more in time so that you can think what's going on. You're very, very lucky in Sweden in the fact that it is helped by the fact that the roads are a lot straight and narrow, but more importantly, there's not that many people around. I think we've been driving for about 20 minutes now and we've had around about 4 cars. I think a rush hour in Sweden, certainly in northern Sweden, is 10 cars together, and I've not seen that yet, and I don't think I ever will do at the moment. I think there's certainly more chance of us seeing some elk and moose than there is of a rush hour 10 vehicles. The vehicle that Renault have bought with them is a Magnum 480 horsepower with the Mach 12-litre engine. They're also evaluating this as well in cold temperatures. They've matched the Mach 12-litre 480 with the 16-speed ZF gearbox. The 16-speed, obviously, as most of you will know, is an 8-speed, the range change, and then a splitter as well. So it's pretty common, and if you look later in the show, we'll be actually driving the other option that they have with the Magnum, which is the Extratronic gearbox, which you get from ZF as well. One of the biggest things also when you're in northern Sweden is the fact that it's the land of the midnight sun, and you also find that time-wise, 10 o'clock in the morning till about 2 o'clock, that's your daylight. We've got 4 hours of daylight, I can't believe it. So you find it's a good test for the lights and the bulbs on all the vehicles. What's better after a hard day's Arctic road testing than going back to the hotel and having a nightcap? But join me later in the show when you see me driving the Renault Magnum back in the UK. But first, let's have a look at Brian and his used van of the week.
Old shape, large cube van. Is this still good value for money? The LDV Convoy. Let's go and have a look. Right, what have we got? A very large cube van this. Side loading doors, again, make sure you check. Runners, the bottom runners and sliders. Also, the locks on the inside, because if it doesn't lock, the doors will come back on you. Make sure you check all this. Make sure you check all those runners are secure. Now, they will also suffer with rust problems on this. You're going to get it around these wheel arches, especially down the bottom of the wheel arches and on the inner side. And also these vehicles are very prone to back axle whine. Now take this vehicle for a long road test before you buy it. Some of them are very noisy. Let's go and have a look inside now. Now this is a high cube van. The thing you've got to watch though with these doors, they are big doors. They do open wide. So just be careful whenever you park one of these, make sure that these doors don't stick too far out in the road because they will get taken off. Now, it is high cube. Let's have a look inside. You need a good step. Make sure the steps are secure. This is a very big van, a load of space inside. Even I can stand up in here. Plenty of space over the top of the cab for loading. Plenty of space in the back. Again, all ply lined. Something very important to remember that. Now, let's go and have a look inside the cab and see what we've got. Right, so we've got a good utilisation of space in this van. On the ceiling here, we've got a really good mount. Now that's ideal for storage space. Good solid bulkhead on the back as well. That makes good sense. Plenty of storage space in this vehicle. Lovely, nice big deep pockets on it. A lot of space in it. Dual passenger seat. Very well spec'd. Might be an old van, but it's a lot of good qualities inside. Let's go and see what drives it. Under the bonnet, we've got a 2.5 diesel engine. Now, in 1997, they phased out the Peugeot engine that was originally in this, and they put in the Transit 2.5 diesel. Transit does suffer, we know, with Campbell problems. The Peugeot engine was the more economical. But from both of them, good pulling power, a lot of torque for this size van. Either one of them will do well. You need to decide which you prefer. So you've bought your van, you've paid £4,500 to £6,500 to a van like that. Plenty of cube on that, a lot of space on the vehicle. So why not utilise that space? Why not put the sign writing on there, logos on there, email addresses, fax numbers, everywhere you go, up and down the motorway, parked outside somebody's house. That van is your advertising. Why not use it?
In a world where car names were becoming more unusual, it was inevitable that sooner or later vans would follow. Although not actually based on a well-loved Australian animal, the Renault Kangoo is nevertheless a jump or two ahead of many of its competitors. The Kangoo is available with 4 different engines. There are 2 versions of the 1.9 litre diesel with 55 or 65 brake horsepower. Plus, there's a 1.4 petrol with 60 brake horsepower and a turbocharged 1.9 diesel with 80 brake horsepower. Fuel consumption varies between 30 and 49 miles per gallon. Storage space is pretty good. The standard Kangoo has 2.7 cubic metres of load capacity, although this can be increased to 3 metres by opting for the optional folding passenger seat and swivelling bulkhead. The maximum gross payload is 625 kilograms, although this rises to 800 for the uprated version. So, despite its unusual name, the Kangoo isn't that strange when it comes to its job, offering a good mix of engines, the ability to increase load capacity and pretty good prices. The Kangoo is definitely not hopping mad. If you work in the commercial vehicle sector, you want a van that's going to work hard and efficiently. And in tonight's test, we've got 3 of the top contenders that's carrying goods from flowers to fridges. Fiat Doblo, yes I said Doblo, not Dobbin. It looks like it sounds, ugly and boxy, but let's not forget it's practicality that counts here, not looks. The Citroen Berlingo, it blends into the crowd, its discreet and subtle looks doesn't draw attention to itself, but let's not forget it also shares its body shape with the Peugeot partner. The Vauxhall Combo is playing catch-up. The original Combo was based on the Corsa, but this latest reincarnation shares little with its car cousin. Every week you hear my opinions on the road test. What we thought we'd do is ask you the people for your views on these 3 vans.
I like the colour of that one, but
Yeah.
I don't like the frontage. It's too flat and square.
What's the cubic capacity in the boot?
Something like anything from 2.3 to about 3.2 cubic metres.
I like the Citroen,
Yeah.
definitely, although there's not a lot of difference basically, I wouldn't think. A lot depends on price for a tradesman, doesn't it?
I'm not too keen on the Vauxhall. No, I think that looks a bit queer. The one at the end's nice, the Citroen.
Out of the 3, I prefer the Citroen, with the Vauxhall coming second.
I'd definitely go for the practicality of it.
Good.
And they reckon Fiat are okay on parts, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I've had Vauxhall, I've had Citroen, I've never dealt with Fiat, but they're all noted makers.
You know, I'm not the kind of person that would say, oh, Fiat this or Vauxhall that, 'cause I really don't know that much about cars, but from a visual point of view, that would be the one I would go for.
That's great, thanks for your comments. Now let's have a look at how we load these vans. First, the Berlingo. Good sound insulation. We've got a nice floor tray here as well, and a half driver's bulkhead. But as you'll see, this is a case of 1, 2, 3 with these vans. It's a case of 1, 2, 3 because as we saw on the Citroen Berlingo, there's only one way in. Here on the Vauxhall Combo, there's actually 2 ways in. You've got this side load door. You've also got load restraints here as well, and more importantly, you've got a half bulkhead along here, and you can get an optional wire mesh as well. Now let's go and have a look at the Doblo. And it's a case of 3 for the Doblo. We've got 2 side access loading doors. We've also got 1 rear access door as well. We've got a full bulkhead, and also we've got a rear great protection for the floor, completing probably the best protection for the load space of all the vans. That's it for the loading section, but join me after the break when we'll see how these vehicles drive out on the road. Join us after the break as we join Eve out on the road, and I'll be finding out just how good Renault's Magnum really is. You saw me before the break loading the vehicles. Now let's go and see how they drive out on the road. Well, here we are inside the Vauxhall Combo. First thing you notice, it is slightly noisy, especially on when you pull away in that first, second and third gears. Visibility wise, very good indeed. Nice deep windscreen, nice mirrors, not electrically operated but manually operated, but not too bad at all. On the safety side, we've got driver's airbag standard, there isn't a passenger one at all. Inside it does feel what people might call functional, but I'll call it basic. Storage wise, there's no lockable storage, but it does lack quite a bit on the storage side. What I do like though is above the driver you've got a full height roofing storage space, like a tray if you like. But again, very, very good, because on drivers you've got lots of delivery notes, lots of things that need to be doing, you can stick them in there. It is just a little bit too big maybe, because you can actually get the notes lost on there. The better one is certainly on the Fiat Doblo. Going back to driving, a lovely gearbox. I do like the gearbox, 5-speed gearbox. It is very, very nice indeed, very positive, and the steering wise is very, very good indeed. Prices for the new Combo start at just under £9,000 and run up to around 9,500. Maximum load volume is 2.7 cubic metres, while maximum payload is 595 kilograms. Here we're inside the Fiat Doblo, and it's different, I'll give it that. It's quite futuristic. I mean, it's typical of Fiat, and never to be frightened of innovative design, and that's the way they are. A bit like the Multipla. The Doblo is the equivalent of the Multipla in the van market. Steering, quite positive. Again, compared to the Combo, probably not just as good, although probably as good as we got on the Citroen Berlingo. Then, electric windows are standard on this vehicle, driver's airbag standard on the vehicle. The only thing that's manual on it is really either the driver or the mirrors themselves. A nice half-size tray above the driver, which is a perfect combination. A couple of other creature comforts that I really do like. An armrest, and I mean by an armrest, I've not got an armrest bigger in our lounge, let alone anywhere else in the car. A really nice one, sits out proud, about 4 inches. Really, really good indeed. The Doblo, at first I was a little bit wary of it, but I must admit I'm learning to love it. The unusually styled Doblo is available with either a 1.2 petrol or a 1.9 diesel. The maximum load capacity is 625 kilograms, while prices range between just under £8,000 to £9,000. Here we are inside the Citroen Berlingo. Very nice indeed, I must admit. Noise wise, probably middle of the road. Gearbox wise, really nice gearbox. Probably I would have it second again behind the Combo, because that was a lovely gearbox. Inside yourself, steering, rear wheel, instrumentation, good to view. We've got rev counter, we've got everything we need. We've got radio cassette, we've got driver's airbag. Again, we have got the basic controls though, i.e. we've got a manual remote controlled mirrors, both sides, and we've got manual winding down windows. Underneath the passenger side, you've got, first of all, as you fold the seat down once, you've got a tray, and if you fold it up again, you've got storage space underneath there. The Berlingo comes with a choice of 3 engines, a 1.4 petrol, a 1.9 diesel, and a 2 litre common rail diesel engine. Maximum payload varies between 600 and 800 kilograms, while load volume ranges between 2.7 and 3 cubic metres. So tonight, in joint second place, we have the Vauxhall Combo and the Citroen Berlingo. But just out in front, and it was by a short head, is the Fiat Doblo. Not because of its style, but more importantly, it's because of its functionality. It's very practical, the load space is very practical, and everything that someone wants for a van, you've got with the Fiat Doblo.
So what would you say are the worst and the best parts of this job?
The worst parts are trying to find a shower and to keep clean.
Yeah.
And the best part, money I suppose, being left on my own.
Have you got any messages for the car drivers out there then?
Should learn to respect the space you need. There's a lot of people don't realise how much space you need, and stopping distances on your couple of slip roads, 300-yard mark, come third lane off.
I mean, has this one got a bed in it?
Oh, it's got a bed,
Yeah.
no room.
No.
Couldn't swing a cat in it.
Real, that's no good, is it? Now, what would you say is the worst and best part of your job?
The worst, I suppose, is being away from them so long.
Yeah.
And the best part, you're free. You do, you get your job done.
Yeah.
You're your own boss once you're outside the gate.
And is it a good truck to drive? Is it easy?
Yeah.
I don't believe you, because I find it difficult driving a car.
No, it's easier to drive one of them than a car.
Is it? Really?
Yeah, because you're high up, aren't you? You can see everything.
Oh, fantastic. And I suppose if anything gets in your way, you just run over it.
I hope that isn't going on there.
No, you wouldn't, but I would, because I'm that sort of girl.
Now the truck we're about to test is one of the most original designs ever to grace the heavy commercial vehicle industry. When this vehicle was launched in the early 90s, it broke the mould as far as truck design was concerned.
Can't handle it.
I don't think it's an understatement to say this vehicle set the standard by which everyone measured themselves, even over 10 years later. So what is this vehicle? It's the Magnum. No, not the ice cream or the private detective, but the Renault Magnum. Sometimes cruelly called the brick on wheels, the aerodynamics were obviously not high on the list for the French designers. And the Magnum is very imposing. In fact, it has a presence that other manufacturers find hard to match. This is the most powerful Magnum and features a little bit of the USA in a French truck. Renault bought the famous American truck manufacturer Mack in the 80s, and they have recently fitted their new engines into the latest facelift of Magnum. This is a 12.1 Mack E-Tech engine, 6-cylinder, intercooled and turbocharged, and it's the most powerful at 480 horsepower. It revs at 1900 maximum RPM, and it's got a massive torque of 2,250 Newton meters. Now, if you suffer from altitude sickness, I suggest you set up base camp on step 2. But there's a reason for this cab being so high, and we'll find that out as we get inside. So, raising the floor above the engine allows you to be able to stand up in the cab, which is great for long distance driving and makes it a lot easier to move around. I don't know if you've ever stood on top of a double-decker bus, but if you have, that's the view you get from here. It's extraordinarily high, offering a panoramic view of all ahead, and that's a big benefit. Because we're so far up and away from the chassis, The engine noise is minimal in the cab. The seating position is first class and the seat itself is full leather. I've got a full complement of instruments in front of me and they're a curious mixture of electronic and analogue. The driver's seat is fully air suspended and it's easily moved to obtain a comfortable position. As you would expect from a flagship model, it has almost everything. Refrigerated bottle holder, lots of storage places, pivoting passenger seat, fridge, communications module, double bunk, even a fire extinguisher. It's also got remote controlled central locking, electric windows, electric sun blinds. In fact, the list is almost endless.
Renault's Magnum is powered by a 12-litre, 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine. Maximum power is an impressive 480 brake horsepower with an unbelievable 1,659 pounds-foot of torque. The unladen weight is 7,925 kilograms.
So that's the Renault Magnum, specifically designed for owner drivers in mind. But if you enjoy standing out amongst the crowd, then this should be on your shopping list. That's it tonight, but join us next week when I'll be earning my stripes with the army and we'll be camping it up with 2 motorhomes.